we go. I think I am unmuted now. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Today is February 24th, I think. Yep. Today is February 24th, and welcome to trading on the Nadex platform. Going to go over a little bit of actually trading on the Nadex platform and actually go really into the nitty-gritty of all the functionality, all the actual trading on the platform itself. So let's jump right into it. We do have the disclaimer and everything to get out of the way first. I see we still have some people coming in here because it is just a minute after 11 or so. But we will go ahead and get the old disclaimer out of the way. If my computer is, oh, okay, there we go. So hope that's not a sign of things to come. There was just a little technical difficulties there, but I think it should all be good. So this is the disclaimer that should be at the beginning of all Nadex webinars, all Nadex videos, and really it should go along with most financial content you're watching. Really all this disclaimer says is that, first of all, trading, it involves risk, both at Nadex and anywhere. Any money you ever put up in any trading activity, any investment activity you are doing is fundamentally at risk of being lost, and therefore you shouldn't put any money into a trading vehicle, into an investment, into whatever that you can't afford to lose. Don't put your rent money, your food money, anything like that into Nadex in order to trade binary options or anything at Nadex, or really anything across the entire spectrum of trading. I also will be placing some trades on the platform today. Really, it's just going to be showing the actual functionality of the platform. I'm going to be going over, in depth into all the different little areas of the platform, but all of the trades I will be placing are not recommendations of any trades to actually go ahead and make. I will be making them basically at random. So they won't be any better than just blindly picking them, because they are going to be solely to show the functionality of the platform. And one other thing, I'll leave this up while I'm saying this. If you do have any questions, I have all the questions up on my monitor. I do look at them as we're going through. So throw your questions in. I'll get to them, as we get to a good stopping point throughout the webinar. If you want to, you can also throw them at the end, and we'll get some time at the end of the webinar as well to gather up any final questions too. So a little bit about me. I've been working at Nadex since 2017, so about 5 years now, and I have been focusing heavily on the products and our platforms the last 4 years or so. So all of our new products that we have, as well as a lot of the new, just changes to a lot of the products that we've put in, and also the platform that we have currently. This platform we developed about, I want to say 2 years ago now, maybe even 3 years ago. I think we released it 2 years ago. Anyway, I was involved in the entire development of the platform, and so that's why I like doing these webinars, especially because I can hopefully give a little bit of insight onto why certain things work the way they do on the platform itself. And then in my personal trading life, I trade mostly equities and equity options. I started trading around 10 years ago, actually. That should be changed. It was probably more like 12, 13 years ago now, as soon as I was old enough to open up a trading account. I mostly stick with equity options. I don't trade anything on Nadex just because we can't trade on Nadex itself, at least not in the live environment. If you are trading on the demo, you might be trading against me, but you'll never be trading against a Nadex employee on the live environment. All right, that's enough of the bookkeeping and about me section. Let's get into the good fun stuff, the actual platform itself. So this is a quick agenda. I'll go through the actual layout of the platform, sort of how to set everything up. We'll go through placing actual orders, the entire deal ticket, managing the positions, closing out of your positions, setting your profit targets. We'll go over the settings. We're really just going to go over everything. So, without further ado, I think we should go ahead and just jump into the platform. I do have a quick question that's already come in here. It says, how do I change my username for that reason? It won't let me deposit in my account. So you won't be able to change your username after you set it at Nadex, but that shouldn't be stopping you from depositing. If you're talking about your name on file, you're going to want to contact our customer service. They're going to be able to help you out with that a little bit more. You are going to be able to change your name on file if it doesn't, match up with your bank, or if that's stopping your deposit. But the actual username, you cannot change that, but that should not preclude you from doing anything on the exchange. A good question. I have had people ask that before. So just jumping right over into our great platform here. So this is going to be obviously the homepage of the Nadex site, nadex.com. And just to get over into the platform, you just want to hit login. And I'm going to be jumping into a demo today, of course. I will log in with my I Like Nadex account. I do like Nadex. All right, so we're logged into the platform here. We'll get to that. It's just 1 second. We're logged into the platform here. This is going to be the first thing you see when you actually open up the platform itself. You have your nice little graphic that the chart's going up and down across the middle when you actually first get in. And really, the first thing you're probably going to be drawn to or probably going to look at is going to be this left-hand panel here. This is going to be the Finder panel. So in the Finder panel, in the kind of left-hand tab, that's where you're going to navigate through all the different products, all the different markets that we offer on Nadex. Across the top, you're going to see we have the binary options, you have your call spreads, you have your knockouts. You can click on all three, and these are going to be the 3 different product types that you're able to trade at Nadex. And then as you're clicking across the top, you'll notice underneath you have the different market classes. So I can go to binary options, and I think we do Forex a lot on these. Oh, we can do Forex again. I know we'll see how good these markets are right now. The markets have been crazy today, obviously, with a lot of the news that's come out over the last 24 hours. So we'll see how in line these markets are and how good they are for showing off the platform today. So let's go down, and Aussie dollar is a fairly popular one. We can choose an Aussie dollar contract here. I'm going to, this one seems pretty good. So I'm going to do a daily Aussie dollar contract. This one's going to expire in about 24 hours. And so you can see as I scroll down, once I click into Forex, not only are you going to be able to see all of the different Forex markets that are offered, but you're also going to be able to see all of the different time frames that are offered as well. So, for the Aussie yen, we have we have kind of these rotating 2-hour contracts. So we have these on a lot of Forex and index contracts. So it'll be kind of rotating 2-hour binary contracts throughout the day. So you always sort of have one that's about an hour left and one that's about 2 hours left. And then you have the dailies that go for different times. But just for this example, we're going to choose one that's about 24 hours out. And once you actually click in, once you have your time frame, you can actually click in and it'll drop down all of the different strike prices that are offered, as well as the different pricing that's associated with those strike prices, right? And actually, to get up a deal ticket, to get up a chart, you're going to want to either click on whichever strike price you select. So you can click on the strike price itself. You can click on the sell side pricing, this red button, or the blue side pricing, the buy side pricing, this blue button here. So you click anywhere on there, and that's going to pop up your chart. It's also going to pop up your deal ticket on the right-hand side. So you have your chart right in the middle of the screen. You have your deal ticket on the right-hand side of the platform. So that's going to be how you pull those up. I do have a question here. So I sold oil last night. Do I buy it back to sell it? Yes. So if you're asking, I think the question is, if I sell to get into a contract, when I exit, do I buy? The answer to that is yes. So you're always going to do sort of the opposite of what you did to get in to get out, right? So if you buy to get in, you want to sell to get out. If you sell to get in, right, you get into a sell side contract, basically a short position. You want to buy to exit that position, and you should be able to do that. I'll show you in just a few minutes here when we get to that section, but there should be a fairly easy way to go ahead and do that with the close position button that's inside the positions panel that we'll see in just a couple seconds when we actually do actually place an order. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. So I do want to go through everything here. So in the middle, obviously, we have the charts. We have all of our strike prices that come up on the charts. If you're really interested in how I did that, it's just pressing the S button, show and hide the strikes. And if you're really, really interested about how our charts work, check back next Thursday That's sort of the end of the 4-part webinars I do every Thursday. The fourth one is focusing heavily on the charting itself. But today I'm not going to go fully into charting because there's a lot there. We're going to go into all the other functionality of the platform. Just real quick before I go on, could you teach me how to change my username because I don't understand English very well? The best way you're going to be able to go through this is actually contacting our customer service. I'm not going to be able to help you too much, and I apologize for this, but just on this webinar while we're going through and teaching about the platform, I won't be able to help you too much with changing that name. But if you do contact our customer service, they should be able to help you. I don't believe we have any Spanish speakers in our customer service, but Google Translate's always helpful. I'm sorry I can't be more helpful than that. So going more through the platform, we have our deal ticket over on the right-hand side here. We can just sort of start from the top of the deal ticket itself. Very top left corner, you're going to have the indicative price. What is the indicative price? Well, the indicative price is really just going to be an indicator of where the underlying market is moving. Generally, it's going to match up with what you see here on your chart. The caveat being you need to have the midpoint price selected on your chart, but the default pricing should match up with what's on the chart here. And basically, it's just going to be an indicator of where the underlying market is moving, and it's what you want to be looking at primarily when you are asking the question, where is this in relation to the strike price that I have selected, right? Where is the underlying market right now in relation to this strike price, which is the actual selected? So you can see here, right, 71305. It's trading a little bit above 7108 right now, right? And you can see that on the chart itself. We have our strike selected here. This is the one we have selected, and I'll deselect the other ones. This is the one we have selected, and it's a little bit above because you can see with that indicative pricing. As we go across the deal ticket, you see expires in 22 hours and 46 minutes. So you're always going to have a reminder of how long it is until this contract actually goes ahead and expires. And that's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And so it's telling you right there, that's in almost 23 hours. As we move forward down the deal ticket, will Aussie dollar finish higher than 0.7108 at 11 a.m.? There is a lot there in that question, but basically, the three things, but it's three very important things. You have the Aussie dollar, right? That's the market you're in. You have 7108. That's going to be the strike price, the price that is sort of the line in the sand, right? If it's 7108, you either need to be above or below, depending on if you're buying or selling at expiration of the contract. And then at 11 a.m., that again is going to be the expiration time. So you have it sort of in two places. You have it here at 11 a.m. Eastern, and then you also have it how long until that expiration actually happens. And then going down, we have our buy and our sell pricing. So these are the best available pricing that's going to be offered by the market right now to get into these contracts, right? So about $68, $69 on the buy side, and about $65, $66. Obviously, these are live prices or prices in the demo environment, but they are moving with the actual underlying market, right? So they're not going to be static pricing. And these are just going to be the best available prices that are out there in the market. You can see the other prices if you go ahead and show market depth. So there are other prices out there, as you can see, kind of underneath these pricing. And you actually can place, if you place a limit order, you should be able to see your own pricing there as well. So right now, these are probably market makers, just because of you can sort of tell by the amount of like lots that they have up there. So 100 and 150, generally those are going to be market makers. However, obviously individuals can offer that as well. But I will show you that if you place a limit order, your order actually does go onto the order book, and this is really what you're seeing here, the sort of order book that's sitting out there available to trade against. And it's not just market makers that are making these prices, it's also individual traders. So I'm going to hide the market depth just for the rest of this explanation of the actual deal ticket itself. One important thing, and actually I guess we can get to this when we get down to this probability in the money, but yeah, I'll go over it when we get down to the probability in the money section here. We did go over it a little bit when we went over the binary options section, if any of you were on that webinar, I believe 2 weeks ago. Moving on down the deal ticket here. Do you have some other questions? I'm going to get through the deal ticket and then I'll answer some of these questions because I do have quite a few coming in. So going down through the deal ticket, we do have the order type. You're going to have two order types on Nadex. You're going to have the limit order and you're going to have a market order. The market order is actually going to be your default when you first come into the platform. I've changed mine to limit basically. What a market order does, if you're very quick overview, market order is basically an order type that's saying, get me into this option, get me into this product at the best available price in the market right now, right? So whatever is sort of the best available price, and this is the best available pricing you're seeing here, is being offered in the market right now. That's the price I want to get in, right? Just give me in right now, whatever it is, that's what I want. If you go to a limit order, and also you'll notice that there's no price box when you have market selected, right? Because you're not selecting the price. So you're basically saying, give me the best available market price. You can, however, choose the size. So this is just the amount of contracts you're going to be choosing. If you go to a limit order, however, you are going to see another box here, a price box, and that's because a limit order is what you're basically saying with a limit order is, give me this option at a specific price if it goes and hits this price, right? So right now this is trading about $68. Let's say I don't want this contract is at $68. Let's say maybe I think the market's going to go down and then go back up. So I want to buy this binary option at a lower price. I can put in a price of $40. Now, what's going to do if I hit this place order? It's not actually going to give me this option for $40, right? Because this option doesn't cost $40 right now. It costs $70. So I'm not going to immediately get it at a discount. However, what it will do is it's going to put an order out there onto the exchange saying, if this buy side ever gets down to $40, then hit me, then we'll get in right at that point at $40. So it's just an order sitting out there, kind of waiting to be traded against, and it's a similar thing you're seeing here on this part of the order book. Moving on down, we have the max loss and the max profit. The max loss and the max profit is fairly important here, and you'll see that the max loss, if I go ahead and I change this around, right, I go to 30, I go to 60, my max loss is changing up and down with whatever I put the price in. And the reasoning for that, right, is because the max loss on any contract you have here at Nadex is going to be what you first put into the contract. It's going to be true with binary options, with the call spreads, with the knockouts. You can't lose more than what you put in. And in fact, the maximum loss is going to be if you get into this contract and it expires out of your favor, you get a $0 payout. Therefore, you're going to lose the entire amount that you put into the contract at the beginning, right? So that's max loss is always going to line up with that. And then you have your max profit beneath that as well. The max profit for binary options is always going to be the inverse out of 100 of what the max loss is, right? So what does that mean, right? Basically, if you have your max loss here, you go 100 minus 60, that's going to give you a max profit of 40, right? Because your maximum profit is always going to be, if it expires in your favor, you'll get a $100 payout. But that's not your profit, right? That's just you get a $100 payout. But if you paid 60 to get in, then your actual profit there is this 40 that's left. That's the max loss, the max profit. Pretty easy to understand it, and you can always check this when you when you're getting into these contracts. It can be a little bit harder to understand, because one thing to remember on the sell side, it is these prices are inverse. So you'll see if I go and put 40, my max loss is actually 60 here. Why is this happening? It's because if I actually get it at a price of 40, what I'm actually paying on the sell side, again, is the inverse of 100. So what I'm actually paying is $60. So that's, I do go more into when we do more product focused webinars into the, what the buy and the sell actually mean. But that's just one thing to be aware of. Moving on down, we have our max ROI and our probability in the money. Yeah, I've been getting a bunch of questions in, so I'm going to go through these last couple things here, and then we're going to get into some of these questions that have come through. So we have our max ROI here. So our max ROI, this one is both of these columns are pretty interesting, right? And I'm actually going to go over the probability in the money first. So this bottom column, probability in the money, what does this mean? Or ITM, that's a little bit of spoiler. ITM means in the money. So it's the probability that this will expire in the money, or another way to say that is expires in your favor, right? So an option expiring in the money basically just means that it is expiring, on the buy side, it's expiring above the buy price, or on the sell side, in the money expiration would be below or equal to the sell price, right? It's basically an in the money expiration is an expiration that results, excuse me, that results in you getting a payout at expiration. And so basically what this is saying is it's the probability that this event will occur. One of the great things about binary options is because they are priced out of 100, you can sort of think of them as a percentage probability of a price occurring, right? That this price that the market's offering is also sort of a proxy for what the market is thinking the probability of this event occurring, right? Of the event of Aussie dollar being higher than 7108 at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And so you'll see here as these move up and down, that this probability of the money, this is actually just the midpoint of these two, right? It's just the midpoint of the buy and sell price. So, we just had kind of, if it's 66 on the buy side, 64 on the sell side, basically the market is saying there's a 65% probability that this option will expire in your favor, that the Aussie dollar will be higher than 71108 at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And the interesting thing about this, right, is that the probability of the money and the max ROI are sort of interconnected, right? So as one goes up, as the probability of the money goes up, the max ROI is going to go down. And as the max ROI goes up, the probability in the money is going to go down as well. So there's that inverse correlation between these two numbers. And why is that, right? Because what the max ROI, or the maximum return on investment, what this stands for is basically how much you are paying to get into a contract, right? Your initial investment versus how much is the potential return, right? So that's your maximum ROI, right? The maximum you could possibly make, the maximum you can get in a return on your initial investment that you're putting in here, and why these are sort of inversely correlated, and we can see this here. So if I can actually bring up my strikes here, we can go select one that, let's say I wanted to get into this strike up here, right? So this one's pricing at about $12, and I can say, okay, well, my max ROI on this is 700%. Why wouldn't I always get into these contracts, right? This sort of $12 contract. Well, it's because, yes, you are paying only $12 to get in, right? You only have a max loss of $12. Your max profit's going to be $88, right? So this is sort of where we get this maximum return on investment of 700%. Huge ROI, right? So why would you not always do this? It's because the probability that this occurs is very low. The probability is the market's pricing this at only about 10% this occurs, and you can see why, right? In order for this to move up, this market's going to have to move all the way up here by 11 a.m. tomorrow. So yes, you are getting a much higher potential return, but the probability that return happens is much lower. And you can see the opposite happen if you go down to, we can look at a contract pricing around $90, right? So we have this contract greater than 7072, pricing around 90 on the buy side. And again, we see this sort of inverse correlation happening. We have the max ROI, and that's priced around 9%, right? Because I'm going to pay around $90 to get into this contract. The maximum I can possibly make is about $10, right? 100 minus 90. And so the probability that happens, though, is going to be very high. It's priced about 90% probability. However, the return is very low. So it's sort of the risk or reward proposition served up right for you on the deal ticket itself. And if you are ever confused about this and about the explanation I just gave, we do have these little information bubbles, and they explain it in a little blurb, and you can also hit see more. That's going to take you out of the platform to a learning article that's going to give you a little bit more in depth into what these numbers are showing. So that's really the main sections of the deal ticket. So before I actually go and place an order and start going through our open positions, I do want to hit a couple of the questions that were asked here. Actually, I guess it was only 2 questions that were asked here. So the first one, if my buy sell price is lagging behind yours, is the internet speed causing this? Potentially. So potentially it is your internet speed causing it. I definitely have seen that before. If it doesn't look exactly like mine, there are some other things you can check. First of all, are you on the live account versus the demo? The live and the demo pricing are not the exact same, right? Because basically what our demo environment is, it's a bunch of people like you, me, and some of our market makers that also make markets in a live environment, but they are just sort of making pricing separately, right? So the demo pricing is not always going to one-to-one match the live market pricing, basically because there are different people in those two markets, right? There are different people trading in the fake market as there are trading in the real live markets. The other thing is if you make sure that if you right click and you go to price, make sure it's last traded. I'm not going to go fully in depth into why that can throw off your pricing, but just make sure your pricing is set to last traded if it does look different than what you're seeing on my screen right here right now. And then also it can be internet lag. If you do have low internet speeds, there can be a little bit of lag there. Next question: what happens if you do not get out on the expired time? I'm not exactly sure what that question is asking. If you want to rephrase that, if you're asking, so at expiration, you will always get out of the contract, right? Right, like at expiration, the contract will always expire, and the buy side and the sell side will be paid outright. One side will get $0, and the other side will get $100, depending on which side was correct, basically. So there will always be an expiration at the expiration time. Now you can trade in and out of the contract before that expiration time, which we will go over in a second. But you always have to remember that you have to have someone on the other side willing to take that contract off your hands. So if I go into something like, here, like if I sold this contract, there might not be anyone on the buy side willing to buy this contract off of me. So there are times when you cannot exit early because basically in order to exit early, you need someone on the other side to take that contract off of your hands, right? You need someone to agree to buy or sell that contract that you currently own. Now, as you can see, in most of these contracts and most of the time, you will have that opportunity, but there are times that you will not. I hope I answered the question. I'm not sure that I actually really understood what you were asking. So if you want to ask that again, go ahead and throw that in the chat there. So let's go ahead and actually place a trade here. We've been talking a lot about placing a trade. Let's place a trade. So I'm just going to do a market order just to make sure we get in real quick. I'm going to hit, we have our size 1. I'm just going to get into this contract on the buy side. Super easy, super simple. I hit place order, and there we go. We see our open position come across the bottom of the bottom panel here. And this is going to be where you see your open positions while you're actually trading. It's going to be in this bottom panel right here. So let's quickly go over everything in the sort of bottom panel. Going from left to right across the screen, first of all, we have the type. This obviously shows binary options currently because this is a binary option. If it's call spread and knockout, it'll show that. We have our contract, Aussie dollar greater than 7.7120 is both the market and the strike price right there in the name of the contract. We have our probability in the money. So again, this is just going to be the same sort of thing you're seeing here that we just went over. This is the probability that this will expire in your favor, and obviously this does change throughout the life of the contract. We have our indicative pricing, same thing as we went over up here, basically an indicator of where the market is. We have our expiration time tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and then the time left, so about 22 hours and 30 minutes. So a lot of this is sort of duplicate information from what you see on the top right, but it is helpful because this isn't always going to be the market that you have up, right? We have our position +1 basically. So what this is showing here, it's in blue, it's +1. So it's saying I have one of these positions. It is the buy side. So if I was on a sell side position, and I'll get into one to show you all this in a second. Actually, let's just get into one right now, right? I'm just gonna choose a random market here. Let's choose pound dollar. Super quickly, and we can see here when I got into this one, now I see here on the sell side it's -1, right? So red minus is going to mean that this is a sell side contract, sort of a short side contract, and buy blue plus is going to be indicative of that long buy side contract. Average price, that's going to be the average price we pay to get in. So for This contract in particular, I only bought one contract, so that's just going to be the price I paid for that individual contract to get in, and that was about $61.75. Looks like I got it at just the right time, but this has moved up since I actually placed my trade. We have our current price here, and so these three panels here are pretty important in what they actually mean and how they work together. So the average price, that's going to be the average price I paid to get the contract, right? And so that's going to be, I got in on the buy side, so this is the price it was on the buy side when I got in. The current price is going to be the price I could currently exit this contract for, right? I think we touched on it a little bit earlier. When you exit your contract, you want to exit on the opposite side of what you entered in. So this is also always going to be showing you the price on the opposite side of what you entered. So I got it on the buy side in this contract. This is showing me the sell side price, because if I bought to get in, I sell to get out. And on the sell contract down here, if I click on this, I sold to get in. So this is showing me the buy side price. So 1650, you can see here, this is showing me the buy on this bottom one. And on the top one here, it's showing me the sell side price, right? Because if I bought to get in, sell to get out, sell to get in, buy to get out. The profit and loss here, and this is super important. This profit and loss is showing you only the profit and loss if you were to exit this contract right now. And so you can see pretty easily, right? Average price paid to get in, the current price, right? So if I were to exit this right now, this is the price I'd get for it. Well, 63.50 minus 61.75, that's 1.75. That's where that profit and loss number comes from. That profit and loss number is not necessarily the profit and loss you will take at the expiration of the contract. This is a very important point, and it's something that I talk to people on the phones and teach people a little bit about trading on the platform. Has come up. I've seen people get this confused before, because it is very possible that you can have a positive P&L showing on your trade, but if it were to expire right now, you would expire at a loss. The reverse is true as well. You can be showing a negative P&L on this screen, but if you held it to expiration, like if it were to expire at this point, it can also expire at a profit. How can this happen? Well, so let's say, I actually wish the market had moved against me so I can sort of show you this. But for example, let's say I got into this contract up here. Oops. Let's say I got into this contract up here. It's pricing about $22. So let's say I paid $20, and then before 11 a.m. tomorrow, this market has moved up a lot, right? So I bought the contract, it's moved up a lot. Generally, that's going to make my contract worth a lot more than it was when I bought it, right? Because even if it's not yet above this line, it can move up a lot. So let's say I bought this contract for $22. Maybe now if it's moved all the way up here, it's trading at, I don't know, I can sell it at $40, let's say. So in that made up scenario, my profit and loss would be saying $20 profit. However, it could be right here, it could be showing $20 profit, but at expiration, if it's not above this line, I'm not going to get a payout on the buy side. So that's just a quick example of the profit and loss is showing you only the profit and loss if you exit right now, and at the expiration of the contract, all that matters is it above or below the strike price, right? So I do belabor that point a little bit, but I think it is important because I think it is something that people sometimes get confused on. And obviously the reverse is true. If we do another example, right? If I were to buy into this contract for $90, and then this comes all the way down here, maybe it's trading at $50, my profit and loss would be showing like a $40 loss. But as long as it's above this line at expiration for the buy side, I would still be in the money at expiration and would get the entire $100 payout. So I hope that was clear. If you do have any questions, throw them in the chat on that. So just moving across the bottom here, I think we have hopefully fully explained the profit and loss and what that actually shows. So we have these two buttons, and to the person that asked earlier, how do I exit the contract? So you do exit on the opposite side of what you got in, but there is a very easy way, and that's going to be this close button. first, let's go ahead and do the set profit target button because that just comes first. So I have our, this is the contract we got into earlier, the Aussie dollar greater than 7,120. I hit my set profit target. So what this is basically saying is I can set a target profit that if this market goes up to, it will put in a limit order for me and it will automatically exit the contract at that point. So let's say I want to get out if this goes up to $80, right? If this contract that I paid $61.75 for, let's do a nice even. Let's say if it goes up to $81.75, that would result in a profit of $20, right? Because I paid $61.75 to get in. Let's say I just want to get out at that point. I can go ahead. I can click place limit order. What that's going to do is it's going to place a limit order over here in my orders tab. And basically what it has just done is it has placed an order for me saying if this market goes up to $81.75 at that price, sell this contract for me, get me out, give me my $20, right? So pretty easy way to go ahead and set a profit target. If you do want to go ahead and just exit the contract right now though, you can hit this close button and it's going to bring up a sort of skinned panel for you to actually go ahead and get out. So it's going to tell you the average price, the current market price, and it's going to be your current profit and loss if you get out right now at this current market price. You'll see obviously I can't choose a price in this close because this is just closing it immediately. So I can go ahead and click close position, and there we go. It got me out of my position. I got a nice little $6 profit there, and we cleaned that all up. The other way you can get out of your contract here, so you also can basically get out just by placing an opposite side order. So we have this sell side contract here, right? If I just go ahead and I buy this at the market price, it's also going to do the same exact thing that I just did. All we've done really with this close button is sort of reskin functionality that was already there. But if I just click on this, it's already going to populate this on the buy side. And so if I just do a market price here, that also closed me out of my position. So there's a couple ways you can do it. The close order is probably going to be the easiest way to quickly get in, get out. But there are those other ways as well. I'm going to quickly just get back into a contract here, just so we have something on the bottom of the screen to look at. But the other, I know I did really quickly close out of my order, working order here. Let's go ahead and place a limit order and just go over that really quickly. So I can go ahead, I can place a limit order. Basically, I can place that order that's gonna say, don't get me out right now, or don't get me in right now, but get me in if this price goes down, right? So if I don't like this contract at 55, maybe I think the market's going to go down, this is going to be cheaper, and then it'll go back up. I can go ahead and say, actually, let's choose one that's different than the one we're in right now. Let's choose a euro dollar contract here. I like to choose different contracts to sort of keep them separated on the bottom, easier to track, hopefully. So let's say this is trading around $56. I want to pay 20 for this. I'm saying if this gets down to 20, get me in, but don't get me in before. And go ahead and place order. Now we'll see this didn't come up in this panel here, but it did come up. This little one appeared. This is now in my order panel. So this is where you're going to see all of your working orders, basically orders that you have placed out there, limit orders that you put out in the market that are sitting out there on the order book but haven't yet been filled, right? So they're just an order to buy something that's sitting out there. Similar if you were just, I don't know, at a flea market and you put it in front of someone's thing, I'll give you 20 bucks for this, right? They haven't agreed to it yet, but it's sitting out there. It's sort of available on the market to be taken out. I'll go over this super quick, but it's basically going to be the exact same as the positions panel. We have our type, our contract. The only real difference is going to be this filled section here. This is just going to tell you how many have actually been filled. In this case, it's zero contract that has been filled, have actually filled my order. We have our price that's 20, and then our current price that's 55.25. On this current, on the working orders panel, that's always going to be the same side as what you're in, because this is what you're looking at, right? You're looking at, is that current market price going to get down to the price that I'm offering? Now, I did say earlier I'd show you that you can actually see your working orders sitting there on the order book. So if I click on the show market depth, or earlier I clicked on that, we just saw a bunch of market maker pricing, but if I click on it now, here is my $20 contract sitting right here. So you can go ahead and you can test this out right now. Go on your demo account, place a limit order, go say hit market depth, and if you place a limit order on the buy side, you'll see your order sitting out in the market on the sell side, right? You'll see it sitting out there. You can go ahead and people can trade against it, but I mean they won't unless it's the best available price. But you can see that basically below all the other prices that are being offered on the market. All right, so that's going to be most of this bottom panel. We do have our 24-hour history. This I sort of usually call kind of a quick reference history. It is a good history. It is an order history. It's only for the last 24 hours though, and sometimes it can get a little bit messy just because it is an order history. Therefore, you're going to have all these order sent, order filled, order sent, order filled, right? Where with a transaction history that I'm going to show you in just a second, which I like to use for my own sort of knowing what I've done on the platform, that's really just going to show you the transaction. So did you get in, did you get out? There's just going to be one line for each, while the order history is usually going to have a couple lines for each transaction, basically. Gotta drink that coffee. Stay up. All right. As we move on, before I do get away from the deal ticket and the bottom order panel, which I know I have spent a lot of time, but these are probably the two most important sections on the platform itself. Well, first of all, so you can actually go ahead and hide all of these panels on the platform. So see these double arrows that are all over. So there's one right here, circle around it. There's one right here, and there's one right here. These are going to be how you hide these side panels on your screen. So you kind of drop them off. So you can hide the deal ticket if you click that hide button up in the top left. If you click this hide button in the top right corner of the order panel, you're going to be able to hide that. It's going to kind of drop down here. And if you click this hide button on the left-hand side, it's going to drop away. So now I have a really big chart, and you can bring these panels back and forth however you want them, right? To get the order panel back up, you're just going to want to click that bottom section to get that back up. You could also, to get the deal ticket back up, you could either click, you can really select any option, and it's just going to bring that deal ticket back up for the selected option. And for that left-hand panel, you're going to want to click either the markets, which is kind of the default tab, but you can also click these other tabs here too, which we will get to in just a few minutes. All right, so I think that is everything with the bottom panel. Actually, there is one other thing that I do want to go over. I know I sort of said that was the last thing on these panels. So there's one other thing on these panels that I think is pretty important. That's going to be the tear off ticket. So this is going to allow you to both tear off your deal ticket, and actually you can do this with the chart as well. You can tear off your chart. Basically what it's going to do is going to pop your ticket and it's going to pop your chart out into another window, right? Into a separate window. You can move this around. I can move this onto my second screen over here that you guys can't see, and I can move it back over. What I like to do with these, I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do with these, right? What I really like to do with these is use these to sort of set up a trading window. So I'm gonna super quick, and this isn't gonna be I'm gonna really quick go through this. So let's say that I always like watching Euro dollar, Aussie dollar, and I know I'm going through this super quick, but pound yen, and I don't know what's another one. We're just choosing randomly the dollar yen. Let's say I always really like watching those four markets. Well, what I can do, and I usually do this if I have like another market set up on the side. What I can do is basically just pull these all over and sort of set them up next to each other. And I actually, on a lot of times, I'm just doing 4 right now just for time's sake. But a lot of times I will put up actually 8 of these. And this is super useful. I use these for like when I'm just trying to watch a lot of different markets and especially watch a lot of our different strike pricing, make sure that we still have strikes that are available for everyone. So you can see here, I kind of have 4 different windows set up. I can not only, these are just the deal tickets right now that I've thrown off, but if I hit this price ladder button, I can actually go back to the price ladders on all of these, and now I can actually sort of watch the price movements on all of these different markets, right? On the pound yen, the Aussie dollar, the euro dollar, and the dollar yen, all on the same sort of screen. So this might not be super helpful if you're trading from just a single laptop screen, but if you do have a few screens like I do have set up here, and I know a fair amount of people do have a couple screens, you can kind of do this on a second screen area. You also can bring up a chart as well. So you can have your ticket and your chart. You can have, if you click hide ticket, you can have just your chart. So you can also, basically this should allow you to customize this in any way you want, right? So now I have a couple charts up that I can look at the same time. So if you do want to go ahead and customize your platform a little bit, this is probably going to be the best way to do it. Again, the way to actually get these up is going to be to go into the platform itself and hit tear off ticket at the top right corner here, or hit tear off chart. It's going to be this little hamburger menu, is what we call these little 3-line menus. You hit tear off chart, and that's going to tear these off as well. It will open them up as new windows, so if you ever can't find them, make sure you kind of look, and they might be hidden behind your current window. I'm just going to exit out of these right now, but that's just another little bit of functionality that I always try to make sure that I go into, because it is really useful for you being able to like customize what you're seeing on your screen itself. All right, so I think that's basically everything with the deal ticket, everything with the actual managing position panels, which are probably the two most important panels on the chart, or sorry, on the platform itself, along with the charts, which I will again go over next week, next Thursday, same time. A little shameless plug there. Let's really quickly go over the top panel here. So the top panel is going to be where you find a lot of your different, it's going to be fairly informational, and there's a lot of stuff that you can find in your account section. So moving from sort of left to right, up here, if you're in the demo account, you will have this open live account button. If you do want to open up a live account, you hit that, it's going to take you over to our, excuse me, we're going to take you over to our application form. If you go over, we have our platform status. So 99.9% of the time, this is going to read operational, because we do have a very good uptime in keeping our platform up. We have a lot of great app support guys, guys and gals actually, that work, that are really, really good at keeping the platform up and running. If there is ever one of those very rare times when something is happening that's affecting our systems, you should see it here. But again, like I said, 99.9% of the time it's going to be operational. So if you are seeing something like, lagging prices, like I got a question earlier, a good place to check that it's not on us and it might be on your side might be this platform status button. And if you click on this, it's going to pop up a status page, and you're going to be able to see not only the status of our trading platforms, but also like account creation, payments, mobile apps, and trading calls. So these are fairly rare, but on days like today, where some news has come out that's massively moving the market, that could be a little bit more relevant. But basically, trading halt is if markets drop a certain amount throughout the day or go up a certain amount, the underlying market will be halted, and therefore our markets are halted too, because our markets are derivative contracts, and without an underlying market, our contracts can't trade. So that's going to be the status page. You're just going to click on the platform status to get that up. You have your exchange time here. That's always going to be in Eastern time. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but that's sort of regulatory. We need to kind of have a single universal time. I know that can be confusing because I don't live in Eastern time. I'm in Chicago, so we're on Central time. But just remember that all of the expiration times on all the contracts, that is going to be in Eastern time. Next, you have your available balance, your total P&L, your position value. There's actually a few different things you can select here. So if you click on these balances up here, this is basically going to be the overview of where the different capital in your account is applied. Right, so obviously on the demo right now, I'm only in one contract, so the vast majority of my balance is going to be just in available. I have my total P&L, my position value, but you can actually go ahead and sort of rearrange these. So if I want my account value up here, and let's say my reserve balance, I can go ahead and I can rearrange these. You can only have 3 at a time, but you can really select any 3 that you want and that you need on the top of your on the top row there. And if you're not sure what these mean, right, you can actually click this little information bubble and see, okay, an available balance, that's how much I have available, reserve, that's funds reserved because I have working orders on and fees, that sort of thing. And if you actually want to hide those values, let's say you trade in a public place, or you're trading on the train home from work or in a library, or if you just don't want to see people, have people see how much money you have in your account, you can actually hide those values too. And now we have the account section. So the account section is a pretty darn important one. So if I click on account section, the first thing that comes up is going to be sort of another account overview. It has a nice graphic here that's going to show how much of your account's actually allocated. Now on the demo, most of this is this sort of white blue color because most of this I don't have in a trade. But you also can see like a tiny little sliver of blue, tiny little sliver of yellow, showing you the position value and the reserve value of those of your total capital you have in your account as well. I also see my overall account value and my total P&L. And if I am on a demo account and I want to replenish the amount of funds in my account, this is going to be where you go. So if you have been trading on your demo for a while, you've lost a good amount of money, or you just need a little bit more money to practice more. If you hit this replenish balance, it's going to take you to this screen. You do need to have below $10,000 because it's basically just going to put you back up to $10,000 to replenish. So if I hit confirm now, it's going to say basically you can't do that because you have over 10,000, and you can only do this once per 24 hours. So as long as you trade somewhat realistically, you probably shouldn't be blowing through $10,000 every 24 hours. And I would definitely recommend trading or trying to trade at least a little bit realistically on the demo account. It's probably going to set you up in the future for more success. But yeah, this is going to be where you can go ahead and actually replenish those funds. As we move on down here, so in the live account, this is also going to be a section where you are going to see your wallet, your withdrawal, your deposit, all of that information. On the demo, obviously that's not there, but that's actually going to be sort of a separate panel here on the left-hand side when you're on your live account. So that's going to be where you find this. It's going to be the My Account section. You click on this top right panel to get there. Moving on down, we have our residential address and our contact details. Residential address, not super important for demo, although it's always good to keep this up to date. It is important for your live account, especially at this time of year, where we're sending out a lot of 1099-Bs, a lot of tax information. So that is going to be sent out in physical mail. So you want to make sure that your residential address is up to date, because this address on your live account is where that 1099-B, that tax information for 2021 is going to be sent. Make sure that's up to date. Contact details as well. This is like a practice account I use just for webinars, so I have sort of fake details in here. I generally recommend, though, having your real details on your demo account and on your live account. If we need to get in contact with you, this is going to be what we use to actually go ahead and contact you. So this is going to be where you can change your phone number and your email address. Again, the only reason I have this as sort of fake information on this is because this is an account I use solely for these webinars, and I don't want everyone out there seeing my actual phone number and email address. Moving on down here, we have our history. This is going to be where you see the probably the best way to go ahead and look at your history. So we have our transaction history here. You can choose transaction or order history. I recommend using transaction history for a lot of actually seeing how you're doing in your trading, seeing what your transactions have done. And under transaction history, you're going to have 2 types. You're going to have trading activity, fund history, or you can do all. Fund history is just going to show any deposits, any withdrawals you made from your account. Trading activity is going to be your trading activity. And then you can choose your time. So let's say we want to see the last 60 days. I can hit view history, and there we go. We have our history here that has popped out. We can see my my sells, my buys, my sell to close, my buy to close, and also any expiration. So you have like settlement payouts here as well. So this is going to be where you're going to be actually able to actually see what's going on in your trading activity itself. So yeah, obviously you have the types of buy, fee, buy to close, settlement payouts, everything like that. And then you have, how much you've been paying in, how much you've been getting out, and of course your description of what you've actually been trading. If you do want to actually go in and see how much P&L you have actually gotten, right now I am aware that this is not the best environment to actually do this. We are trying to get a little bit more. Basically, we are working on improving this. It's a lot longer and harder process than you might think. But for right now, if you really want to get an overall P&L for a certain amount of time, what you want to do is, first of all, make sure that you don't have any open positions, because that's going to throw your P&L off. But you can actually download this. What it's going to do is it's going to, on the bottom left corner, bring up an Excel file. You can open this in Excel, and then just a little bit of a quick Excel lesson for anyone that's not super familiar with Excel and some of the functions you can do in it. What this is going to bring up is this is all of the trades I've made on this demo account in the last 60 days. And what I can simply do, right, is just do, I can type in equals sum, parentheses, and then I can just select this entire row. And what this is going to do is it's simply just going to sum up this entire row, right? So I hit enter, and it's going to give me $305.75. That is my profit that I've made over the last 60 days on this demo account. Now make sure when you're doing this that you have that you've only selected your transactions, because this is also going to have, like, this is an adjustment on my demo account. So make sure you've only selected transaction history, not that funding, if you want to really know what your P&L has been. But this is just probably the best way right now to go ahead and get a super clear, super easy explanation of what your P&L has been over a certain amount of period, certain amount of time. We are working on a better way to do this. I know it's not great to go in and do it in Excel, but for the time being, this is going to be the easiest way to do it. And you can do this just taking a sum of this entire column. So that's going to be the history, the transaction history. You also have your statement here. This is basically just going to be your last 30 days of history, but it's put into a PDF form. So you can see here, it's a much nicer form, but very generally, this is just going to be the last 30 days of history that I've had. And you can also download this as a PDF. And it'll pop up here. Moving on down, we have our contact us section here. These are going to be the different ways you can actually go ahead and get in touch with us. You can email us at customerservice@nadex.com. That's probably the best way to get your questions answered. You can send us snail mail. I would not recommend doing that unless it's something you absolutely need to send in. We are going back in the office, but not on a everyday basis. You can see here that this is my house. I'm not in the office right now. So on that point, there's not people there every single day to actually get your mail, and it just takes a long time. Really just email us. I mean, unless you really need to send us in something snail mail, you can just email us. Or you can go ahead and live chat us, and I will show you how to do that in 1 second. Here we have the feedback section. I know we are getting close, and we're probably going to run over the 1 hour here. So if you do want to stick around, I'm going to keep going until the end. We don't have too much longer. This feedback section, this is a super, super important section. And it's actually so important that we kind of put it on here twice. This is not some black box that like you can put your feedback in and just no one will ever see it. Everything that's written on here, like if I really hate this platform, like I hate the platform, I can send this in, and this is sent every morning. Everything that's written in this box gets generated in an email report that gets sent to me, gets sent to a lot of the PMs on the project, a lot of our developers that develop the different parts of the platform. So if you do have any feedback for a new feature that you want, or something that you don't think is working correctly, or something that you just really hate on the design or the UI or the UX or anything, put it in here. This is how we Like when I'm having my first cup of coffee in the morning, I do read every single bit of feedback and have for the last 2 years. If you have put any feedback in here, I have read it. I'm not going to sit here and say that every single suggestion for functionality is going to get built and put in. That's not realistic. But for example, stuff like the tear off ticket, stuff like the quick charts, stuff like being able to hide your balances were different features that we probably overlooked when we were first designing this platform that we actually ended up putting in because we had a lot of people giving us feedback that we needed to have these things. So again, if we do see a ton of people saying, I don't know, hey, I really need dark mode, actually was another one that tons of people were saying I need the dark mode. We put it in the dark mode because we had a lot of feedback. So give us your feedback, super important. I'll stop belaboring that point. As we move down here, we have our Referral Friend. I'm not going to go fully into this just because there's a lot. Just make sure you read what you actually need to actually get money out of our Refer a Friend program. But if you go ahead and you do refer a friend and they actually place trades and they do certain things, you actually can get some funds in your account and they get some funds in their account. So this is going to be where you want to go ahead and get your link that you can copy and give to people. I think you want to do this really on your live account though. But just I would recommend going in and reading a little bit more about all of the details of the Refer a Friend program. But this is going to be where you find it. And I think on the live account is probably going to be where you want to actually pick this link up from, not the demo account. And then if you want to log out of your account, this is going to be where it is. So the My Account section and log out. I'm not going to do it right now. All right, so that is sort of the top panel here. And again, on the very top right, if you're ever unsure if you're on the demo or you're on live, look up here. This will be yellow and demo if you're on a demo, and it will be this sort of blue color and say live if you're on live. So the very last sort of section of the platform we need to go over is the left-hand side of the section, or sorry, the left-hand side of the platform. Really quickly, actually, I do want to show one of the little bit of functionality in this sort of function, this Finder window. So we can see here that we have this little refresh button. What does this refresh button do? Well, basically, if you sit here for a while, contracts are going to start to expire, and the Finder panel doesn't automatically refresh. But if you click this button, this is going to sort of refresh, get rid of these expired contracts, right? Because this expired at 1 p.m. Eastern, so it expired 3 minutes ago. It's just sort of sitting here, and there should be another 2-hour already listed. So if I want to get rid of this expired panel and then get the next 2-hour up, you'll see if you look right here as I click refresh, it just got rid of that and it gave me the next 2 hours. So if you're ever seeing a ton of expired markets, you can just click refresh and without refreshing the whole screen, just going to refresh this panel, give you your new markets. So on this left-hand panel here, we have our markets window. This is going to be the default one, the one that's been up most of the time. Moving on down, we have this notifications window or updates. You can see here, I have a little one. Whenever there's a new one, it's going to sort of do that little one flashing thing to tell you that there's a new update. And basically, this is going to be where we put all of our new features, new functionalities that we put in, as well as you can see here, different holiday hours. So we had President's Day on Monday. If you were wondering how will this affect the hours, what markets will be open and which markets will be closed, you can always look in here, and this will be where we put the holiday hours. It's where we put the future symbol rollovers as well. Moving on down, we have this little how-to panel. If you do want to go through these, they are pretty good, I think. I mean, I'm probably biased because I actually make a lot of these, and I'm working on making more of these. But these are basically just little bits of functionality that will help you walk through, like a binary trade, right? So it's going to help you walk through, sort of walk you step by step through placing your first binary trade. We are working on some more of this as well, and that's going to be this little how-to. You also have some articles here that might be helpful that you can click, and they'll actually pop you out of the article itself. This is mobile app. So we don't have a mobile app in the actual app stores, but if you do go with your phone and just sort of scan it, it'll actually bring up it'll bring up Nadex on your phone, and then you can add it to your home screen. It'll give you a prompt, and then it will operate like any other app you have. So remember, if you're looking for our app, if you're new, we don't have it in the app store. If you just scan this, and it'll tell you sort of how to add it to your own home screen, and then it will operate like any other app with the added benefit that you never have to update it. It sort of automatically updates. The contact us section. So I kind of went over this, but if you do want to go ahead and live chat us, it should be in the bottom left here. However, I think my internet's been kind of wonky, my Google Chrome, but generally there should be a little live chat button down here too, and that's going to be how you live chat us. The feedback section, again, I said it's very important because it really is very important. So go ahead, give us your feedback here. And then last but definitely not least, we have our settings section. So I'm going to go through this pretty quickly here, but these are going to be where you choose your different settings. So the top one we have is our tolerance levels. Very, very basically, and you can definitely go look this up on our site a little bit more to get a more in-depth explanation, but very basically the tolerance levels are when you're placing a market order, we build in a certain level of tolerance for the price to change. So in a scenario where maybe I'm placing a binary trade and it's sitting at $60, well, if I'm saying give me the best market order that can possibly happen, in that like millisecond that it takes from you to place order to travel to the back end of the exchange to match with someone to travel back to you, that price can actually change in that like millisecond that it takes. So what this basically says is if this changes over a certain range, don't get me into that market price. If it changes under that range, get me in, and you can select what that range is. So that's what the tolerance range is. So if I select like $3, it's basically saying that, you know, if I place something at 60, get me in anywhere from 60 to 63 on a market order. If it kind of in that millisecond it changes up to like 65, don't get me into that price. And so you can change that for both binaries and knockouts. You can adjust them up and down. I think 25 is the top and 1 is the lowest. So probably, unless you do a little bit more research and understand really what these do, I would recommend not changing them. But if you understand what they do and why you might change them, then go ahead. Default order type, this is just going to be whichever order type when you actually click. So you can see I just clicked, brought up a new panel. We have now my market order selected. And if I have a limit, if I click a new trade, oops, now I have the limit order selected. Again, default contract size, pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be when you actually open up a contract ticket, what the contract size is going to default to. I would highly recommend leaving this at 1 and just manually increasing the contract size if you want to. You really don't want to be in a situation where you have it at like 10. You don't mean to, but you accidentally place like 10 lot when you want to place a 1 lot. And then we have session and activity. I usually just keep this at like 12 because I trade on my home computer. This is going to be the amount of time after which, with no, without doing anything that's going to log you out. If you maybe trade on a public place, make it lower, but I trade basically only at my home or at work. So I have it at 12 hours. And then we have our theme here. I love dark theme, so I always do dark theme, but you can also choose light theme if you like light theme. Obviously, it's a lot different look. I basically have every single thing I ever do set on dark theme. And then system is going to be the default. And what this basically does is it basically reads whatever you kind of have your browser set to and tries to copy that. But again, I just use dark theme, but definitely personal preference. Okay, so that is through the end. I know we did go a little bit over. I always try to get it inside an hour, but it looks like we're about an hour and 10 here. I am going to go ahead and look, and if you do have any other questions, throw them in the chat. I think we did have some questions here, so I will go over those real quick. While I do go over those, I'm going to bring up the slide again. Oops. So I'm just going to throw this slide up, very end of the webinar here. There's our customer service. If you want to contact us, if you are liking Nadex, go ahead, leave us a review on Trustpilot. It helps us out. And then these are all our socials: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. All the goodies, all the best. We are there. This webinar will be up on the YouTube channel usually at the same day. This one actually might be tomorrow because I think the person that usually puts these up is out today. So. This will be up on our YouTube channel very shortly. If you want to go back, if you missed the beginning, missed the end, you want to watch either this or any of the other webinars I do, or any of the other webinars any of our other very, very knowledgeable people do. They're all on there. Some of them are long, like an hour. Some of them are short, like 3-5 minutes, explaining small things. And actually, I do have a question here, or somebody said, overview of call spreads and knockouts. So this webinar that I just did is very much focused on the actual platform itself. I think it was last week. Yeah, last week I did the call spread and knockout. So basically, I sort of do a rotation here where I do this webinar every Thursday at noon Eastern, or I do a webinar every Thursday at noon Eastern. And basically, I do a binary option one where I go in depth into binaries, and I do a call spread and knockouts, which was last week. Then this week is the platform one, and then next week at noon will be the in depth into the actual charting functionality. So you can go on our YouTube channel, watch the call spread and knockouts one I gave a couple weeks ago. If you do like listening to me ramble for about an hour, or you can conversely, I think in 2 weeks, yeah, I think 2 weeks I'll be doing another call spread and knockout one. If you want to double check, you can go to our webinar page and you should be able to see it's the one that's Thursday at noon, and you can go ahead and sign up there. Let me see if there's any. If you do have any other questions, throw them in chat here, because I don't have too much else to go over. I will try to answer a lot of these. Actually are questions. They're just saying thank you. You're very welcome. I always love when people come on and hopefully get something out of all of this. Very honestly, I love doing these. So this is great fun for me, and I'm glad all of you out there seem to enjoy it at least enough to stick around for an hour or so. So I'm not seeing too many other questions come in here. If you do have any other very final ones, throw them in, but we'll probably end it here then. If you do have any questions that you think of after this, or that I didn't go over, shoot them over to customerservice@nadex.com. They're all very knowledgeable over there. They should be able to help you out. No problem. The thank yous are always great. Thank you all so much for hanging out for the last 50 minutes or so. All right, I am not seeing too many other questions coming in here, and we are heading on 15 minutes over, so I am going to wrap up the webinar there. Thank you all once again for coming and hanging out for the last hour and 15 minutes. I really hope you did get something out of this. Again, next Thursday and every Thursday at noon, I do these webinars, so feel free to check back on every Thursday at the same time if you like hearing me talk. Other than that, best of luck in all of your trading. Everyone stay safe out there. I know the world seems to continue to be crazy, constantly. So I really hope everyone out there is safe, healthy, happy, and other than that, have a great rest of your day, y'all.